loves the subject of becoming wealthy. And people started to come back to me after as little as a year and say, because of your talk, I'm wealthy now. I'm a millionaire now. And they would come back and they had their eyes, faces were shining, and sometimes they had tears in their eyes. Because I struggled and struggled and struggled. 1 year after I listened to your talk and began to practice those things, I became wealthy. Here's a couple of ideas, and then I'm going to give you 7 keys to becoming an outstanding leader in this industry and to becoming one of the highest paid people in our society and becoming wealthy. And the wonderful thing is they're not complicated. I'm not asking you to learn rocket science or anything. All you have to do is do simple things. These are people who started with nothing. Many of them were immigrants. They came to this country with nothing, and they started working, and they started doing certain things in a certain way, which we'll talk about, and they became, first of all, millionaires. Here's a one-liner for you, because many of you are already millionaires, is that the first million is hard, but the second million is inevitable. And when I learned that, and of course the reason for that is this, it's not, as Jim Rohn used to say, he said, it's not becoming a millionaire that's important, it's the person that you must become in order to become a millionaire. You have to become a completely different person. You have to develop character beyond 99% of the people in the world. You have to develop honesty and discipline and quality relationships and the willingness and the ability to work and set priorities and all kinds of stuff, because without that, nothing is possible. So I found that there were 21 secrets. The first one of all is dream big dreams. I couldn't believe it. Every single person who finally made it said the turning point in their life, they were driving down the road of life, not making much progress, which is that 80-20 rule that you hear. 80% of people make 20% of the money, and 20% of the people make 80% of the money. And what happens at a certain point in life, they change and go on a different road. And here's the turning point. It is make a decision. Make a decision that I'm going to become wealthy. I'm going to become a millionaire. And I will work hard, long hours. I will sacrifice. I will pay the price. I will do everything that is necessary, because you have a millionaire maker organization right here. The sole focus of this job is many wonderful benefits for users of the product, but the sole focus of this is for you to become wealthy by becoming successful, so that you can do all the wonderful things that you want to do for yourself and your family. So make a decision that, by gum, I'm going to do it. And then I found that the 2 things that millionaires say, number 1 is I was not more talented or smarter, I didn't get better grades than other people. He said, but I was willing to work harder than anyone else. I was willing to work harder than anyone else. I was willing to work harder, start earlier, work harder, stay later than anyone else. And you know, self-made millionaires on average work about 59 hours a week. They work about 6 days a week at 10 hours a day, or 7 or 5 days a week at 12 hours. The second thing they found is that they were frugal. Is they earned the money, but they didn't spend it all. Is they saved the money. Because there's a time in your life where you can be generous. You can buy things, you can take trips, you can get new cars and new homes and a home in the mountains and so on, but not early. So your job is to become a self-made millionaire, and LifeVantage's job is to help you get there, and my job is to tell you what to do. I'm going to show you the recipes and the formulas that you can use. And sometimes it just takes one choice. And remember, 87% of millionaires and billionaires are self-made. They started with nothing. And nobody's smarter than you, and nobody's better than you. Nobody's smarter than you, nobody's better than you. If somebody else can do it, especially with all the disadvantages that many people start off with, if someone else can do it, you can do it as well. That's the proof. Abraham Lincoln once said that some become wealthy is proof that all can become wealthy. It's just the very fact that a person does well, it's proof. They started with nothing and they became wealthy. Well, there's the proof. You can do it as well. Just do the same things over and over again. So I wanted to share with you what I call the 7 C's. And I began putting together formulas. And my formulas are 3s, 7s, 10s, 12s, and 21s. I wrote 22 books, which had 21 great ideas to achieve this particular goal. 21 great ideas to double your income, 21 great ideas to live to be 100, 21 great ideas to be an outstanding manager, 21 great ideas to meet and marry the man or woman of your dreams. And people said just one-liner out of 21 changed their lives forever. So I'm very, very hungry. I spent about 150,000 hours studying. I study all the time. I just constantly taking in new information. Because one idea combined with your other ideas and with your opportunity here can transform your life forever. So the first C is the C of clarity. Clarity is my favorite word in success. It's my favorite word in business. I have done consulting for more than 1,000 corporations, large companies worldwide, companies like IBM and General Motors and PepsiCo and Bank of America. I mean, big companies. And I've also worked with more than 10,000 small and medium-sized companies. And what I found is in every single situation, problems occur when the company becomes unclear about what it is they're doing or how it is they're doing it. And so I've developed a program which is really just a fun program for me intellectually. It's called the 2-Day MBA. And it shows 10 different factors of a company. And these are the ones that I learned when I went to university, back to university in my 30s. And I find that all problems come from lack of clarity. What is your product? It's the first question you ask. Who is your customer? What does your customer consider to be more valuable than anything else? How are you superior to your competitors? What can you do to attract more customers? What can you do to close those customers? But basically, it's clarity, lack of clarity. Now, here's something else I learned, and they did a study of 50 owners of companies, successful owners of companies like yourselves. And they asked them, what is the very best time management or business tool that you've ever discovered? 49 out of the 50 held up a yellow writing pad. A yellow writing pad, sort of like this. And this is what they did. This is how they planned their day. They made a list, to-do list. Today, today's date, they wrote down everything they had to do. They always work from a list. Always work from a list. Always work from a list. If you don't work from a list, it's very much like taking your hands off the wheel of your car going down a winding road in the mountains. What happens is your life's going to go up and you're instantly going to start doing irrelevant and unimportant and useless things. And at the end of the day, you'll be exhausted and you'll have accomplished nothing. Now, I know people say, well, how can you write so many books? And I said, well, I have a system. I use a system like a recipe in the kitchen. And I follow the recipe. And the system requires clarity. What is the book about? Who is the book for? What are the subjects in the book that are not covered somewhere else? What is the system and methodology and process? I don't write fiction books. I only write nonfiction, which are basically do this and get this result. And then I will do hundreds of hours and hundreds of hours. So anyway, going back to the number one reason why businesses are not successful, we're not talking about Fortune 500 companies, we're talking about one-person companies, is that just they're not clear about their business. They're not clear about every step of the business because they don't think on paper. Think on paper. The most powerful tool in the world is you, a pen, and a piece of paper. This is the greatest wealth creator in the world. And so you never pick up the phone. You never answer the phone without something to write down. You make notes all the time. Make notes, make notes. Now you can actually capture all your notes on your phone. But what I found is that if you write it down, it records into your brain, and your chances are you'll remember. I found that if your goals are not in writing, and one of the things I taught, and I've taught more than 5 million people, is write your goals down on paper, and write them down in the present tense as though you had already achieved them. I earn X number of dollars in 2019. I am a self-made millionaire by January 1st, 2025. I weigh X number of pounds. I live in a 5,000 square foot house with a separate bedroom for each one of my children. In other words, write it down as though it were already a fact, and you're just reporting it. You're just reporting the fact. Your subconscious mind is marvelous, but what it does is it only thrives on goals that you pronounce in the now. in the present tense.